The story starts with a man named David. He was on his way to a wedding, but when he reached his own car, he found out it was locked and he couldn't use it at all. While he was wondering what to do, he noticed a poster for a car rental agency nearby. The weather was getting worse, dark clouds gathering over him, so he decided to go to the agency before the rain started. When he reached the office, he realized he couldn't open the door by himself. He had to wait for the receptionist. The door only opened at the exact second she pressed a button. If David tried even 1 second earlier or later, the door didn't move at all. This felt strange to him, almost like the place had its own rules. Inside, the agency felt unusual, not like a normal office. They asked David to stand on a marked spot and say his name in front of a camera. They told him they had only one car left, a 1994 Saturn SL. What surprised David even more was that they already had some of his photos stored in their system. Then they asked if he needed a GPS. David said he didn't. He had his phone. But they kept insisting over and over. "What if your phone stops working?" they asked. David was confused. "My phone will be fine," he said. But they didn't stop. Finally, just to avoid more talking, he agreed to take the GPS. The staff looked strangely happy when he accepted it. David took the car and left for the wedding. When he reached the wedding, he noticed a girl named Sarah arrive in the exact same car as his. Their eyes met for a moment, and the bride introduced both of them to each other. David and Sarah discovered that they both lived in the same city. David asked politely, "Would you like a drink?" Sarah smiled softly. "No, I'm good." Later, while Sarah was dancing inside, David stepped outside for a cigarette. After a minute, Sarah followed him outside. She laughed and said, "Stop it. Don't try so hard to be charming." David looked at her and asked, "Are you scared of me?" Sarah said, "No, I'm not scared of you. I'm scared that maybe I might hurt you." David smiled a little. "Who knows? Maybe I'll be the one who hurts you instead." He then asked her what she thought about marriage. Sarah said she didn't think anyone should get married, but David thought differently. He wanted a wife and 3 children someday. Sarah raised an eyebrow and teased him. "So, do you want to marry me then?" David laughed. "It seems like you've ruined some men's lives, haven't you?" "Yes," Sarah said, "and many men have ruined mine too." Then she asked him to dance, but David said no. "I don't dance," he said. So Sarah went back inside and danced with another guy. David just stood there watching her, feeling something he couldn't explain. Later, when he went to his room alone, he regretted saying no to her. Meanwhile, Sarah was in her own room, and the same guy she danced with was there with her. The next day, David left the place and started driving again. But before he could even decide where to go, his GPS suddenly spoke. "David, would you like to go on a bold and beautiful journey?" David froze. His GPS wasn't supposed to talk like that, yet here it was, speaking to him like a real person. He replied quietly, "Yes, I want to go." The GPS didn't accept it. "Say it again," it said, but this time say it with real feeling. So David repeated the same line, but now with more emotion, almost like he was making a promise. Immediately, the GPS told him to go to Kiki Plaza to eat a cheeseburger. By chance, Sarah was already at that same plaza, eating the exact same cheeseburger. When David walked in, their eyes met again. Sarah got up and joined him at his table. But strangely, both of them sat there silently. They had no idea what to talk about. Finally, Sarah broke the silence. "So, are you going to ask me out or not?" David blinked. "Do you want me to ask you out?" He thought her talk about marriage the night before was just Sarah joking around. Sarah smiled in her usual mysterious way. "Maybe you'll never know." They walked outside together. Suddenly, the rain that had been falling simply stopped. They looked at their cars and realized they had rented the exact same model from the same company. They said goodbye and headed to their cars. But the moment David sat down, his car spoke again. "Go pick up Sarah." At the same time, Sarah's car refused to start, and just like that, their strange journey officially began, both of them sharing one car. After some time, the car stopped in the middle of a thick forest. This was their first stop. Right there in the middle of the trees stood a bright red door, a door where no door should ever be. They opened it and stepped through. Inside, David recognized the place instantly. It was an old lighthouse in Canada, a place he had visited years ago. He said softly, "It's strange, isn't it? Sometimes the most beautiful places make us feel the loneliest." Then he added, "There are places where you climb to the top and look down. You're supposed to feel something about your life, about who you are, about where you're going." Sarah asked gently, "Do you know where your life is going?" David answered honestly, "No." They took in the beautiful view together, then returned to the car. Neither of them understood how any of this was happening. Who would build a door in the middle of a forest, and why? Their next stop appeared soon. but this door was locked. Sarah knocked. The security guard inside opened the door with a smile. He knew her well. This was the back door of Sarah's favorite museum. She had come here many times before. David wandered around and stared at a painting while Sarah spoke quietly. "My mom isn't alive anymore. She died when I was 19, but she and I used to come here every month. The security guard used to let them in secretly after closing time. He had been in love with Sarah's mother." Sarah added, "My dad, he's still alive, but sometimes I wish he wasn't." When they got back into the car, Sarah told David about a road trip she once took with her father. They had gone to watch baseball. Sarah didn't like baseball at all, but her father loved it. She even got sick during the trip, yet she admitted it was still a beautiful memory. David then asked, "So tell me, why are you single?" Sarah answered without hiding anything. "Because I cheat. Even if the person is perfect, I still cheat." David was shocked. She then asked him the same question. David said, "I just haven't found the right person yet." But Sarah didn't believe him. She thought he was lying to her or lying to himself. Their next stop appeared, and the door they saw belonged to David's old high school. David felt nervous before walking in. When he stepped inside, he saw that a musical was happening that very day. His old teacher spoke to him exactly the way they used to when he was 15, as if no time had passed at all. David also saw a girl named Cheryl. She was part of the musical, and David was playing the role of J. Pierpont Finch. He told Sarah quietly, "Today, I'm finally going to tell Cheryl that I love her." But he knew Cheryl loved another guy, someone who didn't treat her well at all. "And tonight," David added softly, "I'll go home and cry a lot." But he was determined. This time he would say it again. He got his makeup done for the show. His parents were in the audience too. They had always told him he was special. Sarah listened to everything he said, saying nothing, just watching him. The musical began. David was nervous at first, but soon he gave a wonderful performance. Sarah loved watching him. His parents were proud and enjoyed every moment. Then Cheryl came on stage. David watched her with deep emotion, remembering all the feelings he had years ago. After the show ended, he walked up to her and said, "I love you." Cheryl reacted the same way she had in the past, distant, unsure, not interested. But this time David continued speaking. "In 6 months, you'll break up with that guy. Then you'll marry someone else. And later, you'll divorce him too." Cheryl looked tired of hearing all this. She didn't want this conversation again. She walked away. At that moment, Sarah stepped forward and joined the musical group. She used to be part of a musical team in her own school days. She and David performed together for a short while, then they both left the school. As they walked, Sarah said, "I was a nerd in high school too, just like you." Later, sitting inside the car, they talked more. Sarah said, "You were really different in high school, weren't you?" David nodded. "Yeah, back then I believed life would always go well. I thought I'd get everything I wanted, and I'd be happy." Sarah laughed. "I'm sure your parents told you at least 30 times that you were special." Then she asked, "Be honest, David, do you still chase girls like Cheryl?" David shook his head. "No, I don't think running after someone is right." Sarah smirked. "So, are you running after me? If you are, stop right now. You'll only get hurt." Just then, the car suddenly stopped. The world around them twisted, and both of them were pulled into a completely different dimension. A door opened in front of them. It led to the hospital where Sarah's mother had died. Inside, a doctor was telling a younger Sarah that her mother was gone. Her mother had died completely alone. Sarah turned to David and said, "Do you know where I ran to after leaving the hospital?" David answered, "You went to the museum, your mother's favorite place." But Sarah shook her head slowly. "No, I didn't go there. I'm terrible, David. I wasn't at the museum. I was having an affair with one of my professors. I was with him while my mom died alone." Sarah walked into the room where her mother's body lay. She began to cry. "Whenever I asked you for something, you never said no," she whispered. "Even when you were tired, you still gave. You always gave." Meanwhile, David found himself face to face with his father in the past. His father looked extremely worried. Baby David had been born too early. His tiny heart wasn't working well. He had PDA, a condition that could be deadly. Grown-up David told him gently, "Don't worry, he's going to live." His father said, "We tried to have a baby for so long. My wife got pregnant at 40, he added. "Everyone said it was impossible, but when I saw my son, everything changed." David asked, "Will you ever tell your son about these health problems?" His father shook his head. "No, we won't tell him anything. We'll tell him he's perfect. We'll tell him he's special." David smiled softly. "You're a really good father." While David was talking to his father in the past, Sarah was still sitting beside her mother's body. She was speaking softly, telling her mother about David, telling her how she wished she could have introduced him while she was still alive. It was the kind of moment Sarah had dreamed about, but now it was too late. Soon after, David and Sarah returned to the strange dimension. David was carrying a few gift bags in his hands. He said, "These aren't for you. These are for my girlfriend, the one who treats me badly." They both picked up the gifts and continued walking. By now, their journey together had changed something inside them. They understood each other better. Their bond felt deeper, warmer than before. Suddenly, the car's GPS spoke again. "You two have done very well so far. Now it's time to rest." The GPS guided them toward a mountain viewpoint, a place known for its beautiful view. While driving there, David said, "People always say life is short. They say we should enjoy it. But honestly, for the last 10 years, life has felt very long to me." Sarah replied calmly, "Life feels short only when you have something to lose. I haven't felt like I had anything to lose for a long time." David looked at her and asked, "And now? Does life feel a little shorter today?" Sarah gave a soft, gentle smile. "Maybe a little bit shorter." They reached the mountain and climbed to the top. From there, they could see the world spread out in front of them like a giant painting. It was incredibly beautiful. David asked, "When was the last time you went to a wedding with someone?" Sarah didn't give a clear answer. Instead, both of them silently imagined themselves at a wedding together. They pictured dancing, laughing, being comfortable with each other. David imagined holding her close and taking care of her. Sarah imagined leaning on him without fear. In that peaceful moment, they kissed. Their next stop was a place both of them knew, but didn't want to return to. David said quietly, "I was engaged once." Sarah replied, "And I was a monster." This was the place where both of their exes were waiting. David's ex-fiancée gave him the engagement ring back. She asked, "Do you really want this to end?" But this time, the breakup was David's choice. His ex still wanted to stay and fix things. On the other side, Sarah's ex had booked a table for her in her favorite restaurant, but Sarah said to him very directly, "I'm leaving you tonight. When you're asleep, I'll walk out of your house and block your number." Finally, all four of them ended up sitting at the same table. Sarah explained her reason for breaking up. "In the beginning, I was crazy about you. We had fun, but when things got serious, you started caring too much. And I didn't like that." She had left him because he loved her too much. David then admitted he had once loved his ex a lot too. He used to try everything to make her happy. But after he finally got her, his feelings slowly faded. He began to think she could never make him happy the way he wanted. His ex looked at him and said, "No one will ever be enough for you." After hearing everything, David and Sarah walked away together. Suddenly, a deer jumped in front of their car. The impact was huge. The car flipped over and rolled to the side of the road. Their phones broke, and flames started rising from the car. They crawled out of the wreck and began walking down the road in the cold night air. As they walked, Sarah said, "David, we shouldn't do this. We're both broken in different ways. Before we hurt each other, we should stop." But David didn't agree. He believed love didn't have to end in pain. He wanted to try. He said softly, "I love you." Sarah shook her head. "No, you don't. You don't even know me." David answered gently, "I do know you. I know you're heartbroken about your mother dying alone. I know you cheat so no one gets the chance to hurt you first. I know that when someone loves you too much, you run away. And even after knowing all that, I still love you." Sarah whispered, "Maybe you feel like this today, but what about tomorrow, when you actually have me?" David said, "Yes, I've made mistakes before, but not anymore. I think we can actually build a life together." But Sarah was still scared. She wasn't ready to take that risk. At that exact moment, their crashed car exploded behind them with a huge blast of fire. They spent the night at a small roadside inn, trying to understand everything that was happening between them. The next morning, a mechanic from the car rental company arrived to check on the damaged car. He smiled and said, "Your car is fixed, but it looks like there are still many things in your lives that need fixing too." He gave David and Sarah 2 umbrellas before leaving. As soon as they sat inside the car, rain started falling heavily. The GPS spoke to David again. "Drop Sarah home." Sarah slowly stepped out of David's car and got into her own. Her GPS immediately asked in a gentle voice, "Do you want to continue your big and bold journey?" Sarah whispered almost to herself, "I'm done now." The GPS tried to encourage her one last time. "You can do this." But Sarah didn't want any more adventures. She only wanted to go home and rest. And in truth, David felt the same. Then something strange happened. Both of them saw their childhood home standing right in the middle of the road, as real as memories coming to life. David's mother opened the door and said, "Our son is upstairs." She thought David was his father. Inside, young David had just gone through a breakup. He was hurt, heartbroken, and crying. Now the grown-up David finally had the chance to talk to his younger self. Meanwhile, in her own home, Sarah saw her mother alive again. Sarah ran to her and hugged her tightly. To her mother, Sarah still looked like a little 12-year-old girl who needed comfort. David sat beside his young version. The boy's eyes were red and swollen. He said, "Dad, when Mom went away for a month, I heard you crying in your room too. I wanted to hug you, but I didn't know how." The real David had never spoken about this memory before, but now he could. At the same time, Sarah said to her mother, "Mom, let's pretend I'm grown up for a moment." She told her mother, "I'm terrible with men. I make many mistakes." Her mother didn't judge her. she listened with love. Back with David, he spoke gently to the boy. The world is confusing and sometimes painful, but your parents try their best to protect you. Then he added softly, your mom and dad love you more than you can understand. Sarah looked into her mother's eyes and said, I'm scared. I don't think I can be a good daughter. Her mother held her close and replied, sweetheart, you can be happy. Happiness is something you choose. Choose to be happy and let the good moments in. Later, David and little David played a video game together. When the real David finally stood up to leave, he smiled and said, remember this, you're special. After these moments with their pasts, both David and Sarah stepped out of their childhood homes feeling lighter, calmer, and more healed. David returned to the car rental agency to give the car back, but he noticed something strange. Next to his photo on the wall was another woman's photo. The agency had planned to match him with that woman, but she never arrived. Instead, Sarah had been the one who showed up at the last second. David asked quietly, has Sarah come back? The staff said no. So David walked away without arguing. He didn't chase her anymore. He simply went home, sat outside his house and waited. For fate, for answers, for whatever was supposed to come next. But Sarah never returned her rental car. Instead of running away from another door, she chose to run toward David. She approached him and said, you're worth the risk. I know you can hurt me, and I can hurt you too. That scares me a lot. She took a breath and continued, but I still want to try. I think we can be happy together. I think I'm falling in love with you. David looked at her, surprised and relieved at the same time. They moved closer and kissed softly. Then hand in hand, they walked through their final door, the door of David's own home. And that is where their story finally ends.